The air hung heavy, thick with the scent of time and decay. Sunlight filtering through the dense jungle canopy painted emerald streaks across moss-covered stones. Robert, his heart pounding with anticipation, stood before the entrance of the ancient temple. He ran a hand across the weathered surface of the archway, his fingers tracing the intricate carvings that seemed to writhe and shift in the dappled light. This was it, the culmination of years of research, of deciphering cryptic maps and weathering perilous journeys. The entrance, a maw of darkness framed by crumbling pillars, seemed to beckon him forward. He could feel the weight of centuries pressing down on him, the silence of the jungle amplifying the echo of his own breath. Taking a deep breath, Robert crossed the threshold, the jungle light fading behind him as he stepped into the cool embrace of the temple's interior. As Robert ventured deeper into the temple's labyrinthine heart, the path opened into a vast chamber. The air here felt different, charged with an almost electric energy. In the center of the chamber stood a massive stone door, its surface adorned with a complex mechanism of interlocking gears and cryptic symbols. This was the first challenge, the first lock barring the way to the temple's secrets. Approaching the door, Robert traced the outline of the symbols with his fingers, each one imbued with a sense of profound age and significance. They were like pieces of a long-forgotten language, whispering tales of forgotten gods and ancient rituals. He knew instinctively that these symbols held the key to unlocking the door, but their meaning remained frustratingly elusive. The weight of expectation pressed down on him, the silence of the chamber amplifying the sound of his own heartbeat. He spent what felt like hours examining the symbols, trying to decipher their meaning, to find the connection that would unlock the mechanism. Frustration gnawed at him, but he refused to give in. He knew that the answer was there, hidden in plain sight, waiting to be discovered. As he continued to study the symbols, his fingers tracing their contours, he noticed a faint pattern of wear on the stone beneath one particular symbol. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but it was enough. With renewed determination, Robert focused his attention on the worn symbol and the surrounding mechanism. He realized that the symbol itself wasn't the key, but rather a marker, indicating a specific sequence for rotating the gears. It was a subtle clue, easily overlooked, but one that spoke volumes about the temple builders' ingenuity. They hadn't relied on brute force to protect their secrets, but on cunning and an intricate understanding of the human mind. As he began to manipulate the gears, he could feel the mechanism responding, the ancient machinery groaning back to life after centuries of slumber. With a heavy thud, the stone door swung inward, revealing a passage bathed in an ethereal green light. Robert stepped through the threshold, his senses on high alert, and found himself in a circular chamber. In the center of the room, a beam of emerald light shot down from an opening in the ceiling, illuminating a pedestal on which rested a collection of intricately cut crystals. The air in this chamber felt different, charged with a strange energy that sent a tingle down Robert's spine. He could feel the hum of ancient power thrumming beneath his feet, vibrating through the very core of his being. He approached the pedestal cautiously, drawn by the allure of the glowing crystals. Each crystal pulsed with inner light, their facets reflecting the emerald beam in a dazzling display of color and brilliance. As he drew closer, Robert noticed that the crystals were not arranged randomly. They were positioned in a circular pattern around the beam of light, their arrangement echoing the celestial constellations etched on the chamber walls. It was as if the creators of this temple had somehow captured a fragment of the cosmos and enshrined it within these walls. He reached out, his fingers hovering over the cool, smooth surface of one of the crystals. As he did so, the beam of light above flickered, casting dancing shadows across the chamber walls. He sensed that these crystals were more than just beautiful objects. They were integral to the temple's mysteries, holding a key to unlocking the path forward. But how? The answer, he realized, lay not in the crystals themselves, but in their relationship to the celestial map etched on the chamber walls. The constellations he knew were more than just random arrangements of stars. They were maps, stories passed down through generations, charting the course of celestial bodies and the passage of time. Could this be the key? Could the crystals arranged in this specific order be a representation of a particular celestial alignment, a moment frozen in time? Robert spent what felt like hours studying the constellations on the walls, comparing them to the arrangement of the crystals on the pedestal. The emerald beam cast long, eerie shadows as he worked, the silence broken only by the sound of his own breathing. He knew he was close, he could feel it, but the final piece of the puzzle eluded him. Then, as if struck by a bolt of lightning, it hit him. The constellations on the wall weren't just a map of the stars, they were a calendar, charting the movements of the heavens across the millennia. The arrangement of the crystals, he realized, must correspond to a specific date, a moment in time when the stars aligned in a particular configuration. But which date? He scanned the constellations again, his eyes searching for a clue, a hint that would unlock the secrets of this celestial puzzle. His gaze fell upon a small, almost insignificant constellation near the chamber's entrance. It depicted a serpent, its sinuous body coiled around a glowing orb. The serpent's eye, as it was known in ancient lore, marked the summer solstice, the longest day of the year. And there, on the pedestal below, positioned directly beneath the serpent's eye on the celestial map, rested a crystal that shimmered with an internal light brighter than any of the others. This, Robert realized, was the key. With trembling hands, he carefully adjusted the crystal, aligning its tip with the emerald beam that bathed the chamber in its otherworldly glow. As he did so, the air crackled with energy. The other crystals on the pedestal began to hum in resonance, their inner light intensifying until the chamber pulsed with vibrant emerald fire. Then, as quickly as it began, the light subsided. The crystals fell silent, their brilliance dimmed, but the air remained charged with a palpable sense of change. As the emerald light faded, a section of the wall slid inward, revealing a narrow passage leading deeper into the temple. Robert, his heart pounding with a mixture of trepidation and excitement, stepped cautiously into the passage. The air was heavy, laden with the scent of damp earth and something else. Something ancient and indefinable. The passage opened into a square chamber, its walls adorned with murals depicting scenes of a long-lost civilization. There were images of people dressed in flowing robes, their faces both familiar and alien, engaged in rituals that spoke of a deep connection to the natural world. Robert traced the lines of the murals with his fingers, marveling at their detail and the skill with which they had been preserved for millennia. They were more than just decorations, they were a window into the past, offering a glimpse into the lives and beliefs of the people who had built this incredible place. In the center of the chamber, a large circular stone disc rested on the floor, its surface etched with a spiral pattern that drew the eye inward. Surrounding the disc, set into the floor at regular intervals, were a series of pressure plates, each one carved with a different symbol. The air in the chamber felt different, thicker somehow, as if an unseen weight pressed down from above. Robert could feel a strange energy emanating from the pressure plates, a subtle hum that resonated deep within his bones. He knew instinctively that these plates were another test, another challenge designed to test his worthiness. But what was the solution? What combination of symbols would unlock the secrets of this chamber and grant him passage deeper into the temple? He circled the pressure plates, his gaze scanning the symbols etched into their surface. Each one was unique, a combination of geometric shapes and stylized animal forms, and each one seemed to radiate a subtle energy that sent a shiver down his spine.
Robert studied the murals again, searching for a connection between the images and the symbols on the pressure plates. He could feel time slipping away, the weight of expectation pressing down on him. The silence of the chamber was broken only by the sound of his own breathing and the faint hum emanating from the pressure plates. He had to figure this out, but the answer remained frustratingly elusive. His gaze lingered on one particular mural depicting a procession of figures carrying offerings towards a towering pyramid. The figures were arranged in a specific order, each one holding a different object: a staff, a chalice, a sword, and a disc. And then it struck him. The order in which the figures were positioned corresponded to the symbols on the pressure plates. He had found his key. With renewed determination, Robert stepped onto the pressure plate etched with the symbol of the staff, remembering the image of the first figure in the procession. As he did so, the stone disc in the center of the chamber shuddered, and a low grinding sound echoed through the chamber as the section of the floor beneath the disc began to rotate. He quickly stepped onto the next plate, the one marked with the symbol of the chalice, and then the next, following the order of the figures in the mural. With each step, the grinding sound grew louder, the rotation of the floor beneath the disc accelerating. Finally, he reached the last plate, the one etched with the symbol of the disc. As he stepped onto it, the chamber was filled with a deafening roar, and the stone disc in the center of the room began to rise, revealing a staircase leading down into the darkness. Dust rained down from the ceiling as Robert approached the staircase, his heart pounding with anticipation. He had solved the puzzle, passed the test, and the path to the temple's innermost sanctum lay open before him.
Section 7. The Unveiling. The staircase descended deep into the earth, the air growing noticeably cooler and thinner with each step. The silence was absolute, broken only by the sound of Robert's own breathing and the faint echo of his footsteps on the stone steps. He gripped the rough-hewn handrail, his senses on high alert as he ventured deeper into the bowels of the temple. He could feel the weight of the earth pressing down on him, the immense age of this place palpable in the cold, damp air. The staircase opened into a large rectangular chamber, its walls lined with shelves stacked high with scrolls and artifacts. A single shaft of light pierced the darkness from an opening in the ceiling, illuminating a large stone tablet resting on a pedestal in the center of the room. The air here was different, charged with an almost tangible energy that sent a shiver down Robert's spine. This was it, the heart of the temple, the repository of its most closely guarded secrets. As Robert approached the pedestal, he could make out the intricate carvings on the tablet's surface. They were unlike any language he had ever seen, a series of swirling lines and abstract symbols that seemed to writhe and shift before his eyes. He reached out, his fingers tracing the cool, smooth surface of the stone. As he did so, the symbols seemed to pulse with a faint inner light, as if responding to his touch. He knew instinctively that this tablet held the key to unlocking the temple's ultimate mystery, the culmination of his long and perilous journey. But how to decipher its cryptic message? He circled the tablet, his eyes scanning the symbols, searching for a pattern, a clue, anything that would help him unlock its secrets. The silence of the chamber pressed in on him, amplifying the sound of his own heartbeat. He had come so far, overcome so much, and now the answer, the culmination of his life's work, lay before him, tantalizingly close yet frustratingly out of reach. Section 8. Echoes of the Ancients. Robert spent what felt like an eternity studying the tablet, his mind racing to make sense of the cryptic symbols. He tried every language he knew, every code he had ever encountered, but nothing seemed to fit. Frustration gnawed at him, threatening to overwhelm him. Was he destined to fail at the final hurdle, so close to his goal, yet unable to grasp it? He stepped back from the tablet, closing his eyes, and took a deep breath. He needed to clear his mind, to approach this puzzle from a different angle. He had been so focused on deciphering the symbols as a written language that he had failed to consider other possibilities. What if the key to unlocking the tablet's secrets lay not in the symbols themselves, but in something else, something beyond the realm of conventional understanding? He opened his eyes and approached the tablet once more, this time focusing not on the individual symbols, but on their overall arrangement. He noticed that the symbols were not arranged in straight lines, as one might expect in a written language, but rather in a spiral pattern, echoing the spiral he had encountered on the stone disc in the chamber above. Could this be significant? Could the arrangement of the symbols hold a clue to their meaning? As he continued to study the tablet, he realized that the symbols were not merely arranged in a spiral, they were positioned at specific points along the spiral, creating a pattern that seemed to correspond to the phases of the moon. He recalled reading about ancient cultures that used the moon's cycles as a basis for their calendars and rituals. Could this be the key? Could the symbols on the tablet represent a lunar calendar, a record of celestial events that held profound significance for the temple builders? Section 9. A Glimpse Beyond. With renewed determination, Robert began to trace the spiral pattern on the tablet, his fingers moving from symbol to symbol, following the phases of the moon as he remembered them. As he did so, the air around him seemed to crackle with energy, and the symbols on the tablet began to glow with a faint ethereal light. He could feel a connection forming, a bridge between his mind and the ancient consciousness that had created this place. It was as if the temple itself was awakening, responding to his touch, guiding him towards the truth it had guarded for millennia. His heart pounded in his chest, his breath catching in his throat as he neared the center of the spiral, the culmination of the lunar cycle, the point where all things converged. As his fingertip came to rest on the final symbol, a blinding flash of light filled the chamber. Robert shielded his eyes, his ears ringing from the sudden, deafening silence that followed. When he dared to look again, he found himself staring not at the stone tablet, but at a shimmering portal of energy, its edges crackling with raw power. The air shimmered and distorted around the portal, revealing glimpses of a breathtaking landscape unlike anything he had ever seen before. Towering trees with leaves of silver and gold reached towards a sky ablaze with stars he had never witnessed in all his travels. Creatures of light danced in the air, their forms shifting and changing like flames on a candlewick. He had stumbled upon something extraordinary, a gateway to a realm beyond human comprehension. Section 10. The Journey Unfolds. Robert stood before the portal, his heart pounding in his chest, a maelstrom of emotions swirling within him. Awe, wonder, and a profound sense of humility washed over him as he gazed upon the impossible beauty that lay beyond the shimmering veil of energy. He had spent his life searching for knowledge, for answers to the universe's greatest mysteries, and now, standing on the precipice of the unknown, he realized that his journey had only just begun. He reached out a hand, his fingers trembling slightly, and touched the surface of the portal. It felt cool and smooth to the touch, like polished obsidian, yet it vibrated with an energy that seemed to hum through his very bones. A sense of peace settled over him, a feeling of rightness, as if this moment, this discovery, had been preordained. He took a deep breath, steeling himself for what lay ahead. He didn't know what awaited him on the other side of that portal, what wonders or dangers he might face, but he knew, with every fibre of his being, that he had to step through. This was his destiny, the culmination of a lifetime of searching, and he wouldn't turn back now. With one last glance at the familiar surroundings of the chamber, he took a step forward and crossed the threshold, disappearing into the shimmering light, ready to face whatever awaited him in the uncharted realms beyond. The portal rippled once, like the surface of a pond disturbed by a fallen leaf, then sealed shut, leaving no trace of its existence save for the faint scent of ozone and the echo of ancient magic that lingered in the air. The temple, once again silent, stood as it had for millennia, its secrets safe for now, awaiting the next intrepid soul brave enough to unlock its mysteries and face the wonders that lay beyond the veil of the known. The journey, however, was far from over. It had just begun.